Should you buy the injury dip on players missing time in training camp in your fantasy draft? I'm Matthew Betz, injury analyst and physical therapist with the Fantasy Footballers to break it down today. So this past offseason, I did a study looking at players from 2021 till this past offseason 2024 to try to answer that question. And basically what I did is looked at over 100 players in that sample and looked at players who were missing a significant chunk of time in training camp. So if a player missed, 2 or 3 days because of an ankle sprain, they are not included in this study. If a player missed, a week because of a mild hamstring injury, they are not included in this study. What I'm looking at is basically players that are missing 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks of training camp. Should we be buying the injury dip on these players in our drafts? And the data is pretty conclusive. The answer to that question is most of the time, no. I looked at over 100 players and basically only 28% of the players in this data set exceeded their ADP expectation on a points per game basis. So even if you factor in time missed, ramp up, things like that for some of these players, even on a points per game basis, they're usually disappointing you in terms of where you drafted them, or at least they're not giving you league winning upside. So for the most part, I'm shying away from some injured players this year. I'm trying to make sure that I am not aggressively targeting these guys in my drafts unless they fall to a significant ADP discount. Then maybe it's okay to take the plunge. But the vast majority of the time, this does not work out for fantasy on a points per game basis. Who are the players that might fit that this year? Matthew Stafford has missed a bunch of time because of his back injury. Jaden Reed is battling a foot sprain in Packers training camp. Brandon Ayuk and Juwan Jennings have missed the entirety, pretty much, of training camp as Ayuk recovers from his ACL injury, and Juwan Jennings is currently dealing with his calf strain. Isaiah Likely is recovering from a foot fracture for the Ravens, and as well, we're looking at a couple running backs like Joe Mixon and Najee Harris, who literally have not practiced at all in training camp. Those guys definitely look very, very iffy this year among the other players I just mentioned. For more injury updates and information that you can get for your drafts, check out the Ultimate Draft Kit. The injury report is in there. As well, the Injury Blitz podcast is back. It is out every Friday afternoon from now until week 18.